Hey Valley, Andrew here. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever come to the church and thought to yourself, man, I really don't belong here? Because as you're looking around, you think that everyone else has their lives together. Well, this week, Lance, he did a great job talking about the friends that brought their paralyzed friend to Jesus. And in that discussion, we got a chance to talk about why it's important for us to all realize that none of us have it together. Now, if you're someone who thinks that churches are just full of perfect people, this is a video for you. Check this out. It breaks my heart that, I'm sure you've experienced this. Typically, you and I are up front, we do our thing, and people tend to think that because we're pastors or because we have been in church for so long that we have just figured it out, that we do not struggle. And yes, there is a calling on our lives that we will be judged a little more harshly because we are teachers and preachers of the word, and there is an expectation that there's an expectation there just because of the title and the office there. But the truth is that we are just as human,
Correct.
as anybody that walks into the door. But we hopefully are mature. Hopefully are mature enough. I'm working on maturity, I guess.
He is.
But we, I guess, hopefully are just quicker to realize that we need Jesus, and that the person walking in the door needs Jesus as well. And that's that you're talking about. Like then we can all come alongside each other and walk
right
to Christ.
Yeah, I don't know that I described it as clearly as I wanted to, but I think the biggest thing is just that when you're walking into a community like that, whether it's a small group, you're a part of Valley right now, and then you're going to begin a small group, and you walk in and you kind of feel that feeling of, wow, everybody has it together. The first thing you need to know is that I feel that feeling. I feel that feeling. When I walk into a group, I don't walk in and say, man, I got it. I walk in thinking, man, these guys are doing it better than I am. So everybody walked into the group kind of feeling that same way. If we can spend enough time together, because that's how you develop genuine friendships. It's that time and then becoming emotionally vulnerable. But you don't become emotionally vulnerable at the beginning, because then everybody kind of backs away from you. Go, oh, you're going to be a needy person, right?
Yeah.
So the goal is that time spent together, and then begin sprinkling it out a little bit. And everybody begins to do that. And as everybody begins to do that, then we all begin to say, okay, we're in the same stinking boat. Yeah. And all of us, that's what unites us, is that we're all broken people. And all of us need Jesus. All of us have either found hope in Jesus, and there's some areas where he has done some incredible work, and we come together, come to the table, and that's our testimony. But even if that's your testimony, you're dealing with something else, right? Because we haven't hit perfection.
Right.
So there's another area that he's pointed out in your life, even though maybe that one is taken care of. Now he's saying, okay, how about this one? And you're bringing that to the table.
And that's the journey. As we all are becoming more and more like Jesus, he identifies areas in our lives that we need to hand over to him, and that we are challenged and we are grown. And you had a quote this week by Jean Vanier.
Jean Vanier.
And I don't remember exactly, but the sentiment behind it is that it's through community that we start to see our own shortcomings.
Correct.
Right? And we as human beings do not enjoy seeing our own shortcomings. Mm-hmm. But we need to identify those. Because that's part of our brokenness.
Right.
And if we don't identify those shortcomings, we're just going to be stuck, and we're going to continually inflict pain upon ourselves and the people we love over and over and over. And that's why the gospel community is important, because not only are we in the same boat, but we are all moving towards redemption.
Correct.
Together.
Yeah, it's interesting, the old saying, hurt people, and we hurt out of our hurt, and I totally agree with that. The unfortunate thing is that all of us are hurt, all of us are broken. So some of us hide things better than other people, and we've all been in communities where some people don't hide it at all, and you just go, oh my goodness, and it's like part of the room just moves to one side and allows them to have their little rant or whatever it is it's going to happen. And you always have that in community, but everybody is like that individual. We just have learned how to manage that rant, whatever it is that's inside of us. We've learned to say, don't do that, don't do it here, don't allow anybody to see it. But we all have that struggle inside of us. And the key is to get to a place to where we're able to admit it to ourselves first, right?
Yeah.
Because, and that's what somebody came to me after the first service and they said, Lance, I totally disagree with you. I think that whenever I'm in community, I hide my mat better than any other place. And that's true, but it's in community that the knowledge of that mat shows up. Because it's in community that I realize, oh, snap, I'm jealous. If I hadn't have shown up to this meeting, if I hadn't have shown up to this group of people, whatever this, I wouldn't have known this and I wouldn't have been jealous. I would have been able to sit at home and think that I'm doing pretty good because in my mind, I'm pretty good. But whenever I get around other people, then something they say, that angers me. It's in community that those things show up. And a healthy way of handling, a mature way, maybe that's a better way of saying it, would be to say, why am I feeling what I'm feeling? Where is this coming from? Because it's usually not somebody else making me feel it. It's something that's inside of me. So there is a sin issue.
Yeah.
It's when we're in community, sin issues surface, and if they don't explode out, they at least are there, and we have to mask them. And when we're masking them, you need to ask the question, why is this here? Where did this come from? Jesus, help me with this.
Yeah.
And then you may not, with your group of 12 or 20 or 200 at church, you may not stand up and say, hey, I just want everybody to know I'm dealing with anger right now. But what you may do is you may afterwards go to your 2 or your 3 that you have built that community with, that friendship, right? That step beyond, and sit down and say, I just need you guys to know that today, whenever so-and-so got up and was sharing, I got angry. I don't know why I got angry, but I got angry. And then to have them help you with that, it's not like a psychological, let's have a sit-down encouragement type, but let's go to Jesus. That's what his friends did. This man with this mat, his friend said, you need Jesus. Jesus is the only one that can help you. And they stopped by, they literally picked him up, and they took him to Jesus.
Yeah, and